All right, in today's video, we're going to talk about why your med spa or aesthetic practice's revenue is inconsistent on a month-to-month basis and what you can do to fix this problem. So before we dive into the content here, my name's Josh. I'm the founder of Wellness Leads. I specifically work with med spas, aesthetic practices, and wellness centers. I've spent hundreds of hours of my own time personally generating leads and calling those leads to book appointments for my med spa clients. And I've booked hundreds of qualified appointments collectively for my clients at this point. So just to dive right into the video here, I want to give you a tale of two med spas. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at two different scenarios, two different med spas, and we're going to talk about why one of them is so much more profitable and has much more consistent revenue as compared to the other. So let's start with Med Spa A here. Med Spa A, they run ads to an intro package of some sort. This is pretty standard. It's what you'd see on like Facebook or Instagram or TikTok ads, etc. When they run those ads, they get people who are interested. They get those individuals on the phone. They qualify them. They educate them. They set proper expectations with them as they should. They provide an excellent first appointment for the people who show up to their appointment. They upsell an average of 20% of those people that show up for their appointment into a one-off package of some sort. So they sell something for $1,200 on the low end, all the way up to like $5,000 on the high end. And then the 80% of people who showed up to their appointment but didn't end up purchasing something, they're pretty much just thrown to the wayside along with all the other leads who never ended up actually booking an appointment. So let's run some sample numbers here. Let's say that this company spent $1,500 in ads in a given month. They generated 100 leads. So 100 people put up their hand and said, hey, I'm interested in that thing that you're advertising. Of those 100 leads, 25 of them ended up booking an appointment. 20 of them ended up showing up for their appointment. 4 of those individuals end up buying a package, and your average package sale, let's just say, is $2,500. That means that your total sales in this scenario would be $10,000 if we're not considering the sales that were made on like the upfront offer. That's like, $70, $80, $100, something like that. In this scenario, that basically means that you have a 6.6 return on ad spend. So in other words, for every $1 that you put into your ads, you're getting $6.60 back. Now listen, this is a really great position to be in. This is a really good starting point to be able to put, consistently put $1,500 into your ads and know that you're going to get $10,000 back. That's a great starting point, right? But I want to compare this scenario with Med Spa B over here. So Med Spa B, they pretty much do the same exact thing. They run ads to an intro package. They get people on the phone. They provide an excellent first appointment for people who show up. They upsell an average of 20% of people into a package. But then here's where things start to get different and what Med Spa B does a little bit differently here. Med Spa B understands that not everybody who actually comes in for their intro package is going to end up buying a higher ticket treatment plan or package. So they have a downsell ready. So they downsell 10% of people into a starter package that's around like $500 or so. And then from there, this is also so key and so integral, is they build follow-up systems to strategically keep in touch with everyone. So in basically what that means, this individual here at Med Spa A, what they were doing was they were generating all those leads, and then the 80% of people who showed up to their appointment and didn't end up purchasing something, they were pretty much just like throwing them out in the trash and saying, okay, well, they didn't want to buy something on the first day, so we're not going to talk to them anymore because they're not interested, right? And even with all these leads that they were generating from their ads, anyone who didn't end up booking an appointment, they're pretty much just throwing those leads out as well. This individual, though, they say, okay, maybe they're not ready right now, but maybe they'll be ready later. So they strategically follow up with everybody at every single part of the funnel, whether they never responded in the first place, whether they ended up booking an appointment but didn't show up, whether they showed up and didn't buy something, whether they bought something, they're following up with everybody. Now let's run some sample numbers with this company. This company spends the same exact $1,500 in ad spend. They get the same exact 100 leads, 25 appointments, 20 of them show up, and 4 of them buy a package. But then since they have that downsell ready, they've sold 2 people into a starter package. Let's say that the average upsell is $2,500 and the average starter package is $497. Now on top of that, due to following up, 2 of those package sales that you made before end up coming in for regular maintenance treatments every 2 months or so at $350 per treatment. Also, due to your follow-up, one of those starter packages, one of those individuals who bought a starter package ends up ascending into a $2,500 package. Due to your follow-up, 2 more people who showed up but didn't end up buying anything end up coming in and buying a $2,500 package. Over time, 10 of those 80 leads who never came in and never ended up booking an appointment, 2 of those individuals end up buying a $2,500 package due to your follow-up. Now, due to all of this activity that you're doing, your total sales are $26,994, and your average return on ad spend is 18x. So that means for every dollar you put into your ads, you are getting $18 back. So this person has nearly tripled the amount of money that they're getting back as compared to this person here. They're putting in the same exact amount into the ad. So that's so important to remember, is that MedSpa A is putting in 1,500, MedSpa B is putting in 1,500, but this person is getting nearly triple the amount of money back from the investment that they're making into their ads. And this right here, I hope that this example, like the numbers in this example that I just shared with you are completely made up, but I hope that it proves a point. So many med spas, they get a new lead, whether it's from Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Groupon, it doesn't matter where it's coming from. And they treat that lead as if it is a make or break situation. That person is either scheduling with us the first time, showing up the first time, buying the first time, or we will never reach out to them ever again. If somebody comes in and they don't buy anything, then we're never going to talk to that person again. If you get 100 leads every single month from wherever you get them from, and 20 of them show up for an appointment, what happens with those 80 other leads who didn't schedule an appointment with you? Yes, some of those individuals are definitely just like tire kickers. They're just wasting your time. They're shopping around on price. But they are all people who put their hand up and showed interest in something that you are currently offering. Flushing these leads down the toilet is the same as flushing your money down the toilet. Why is that? And it's the reason for this is something called the buyer's journey. So the buyer's journey basically just says that there are 3 stages that any buyer goes through in any given situation. So first off, they become aware. So they become aware of the treatment or the offer that you are providing to them. They consider it. So they weigh their options, they do some research, and then they end up deciding whether or not they're going to purchase that thing. People go through their own buyer's journey at very different paces. For some people, they're ready to go, right? They're ready to buy the thing today. So they see your intro offer, they come in for it, and then you run them through a consultation, you show them the package or treatment plan, and they buy it on the spot, like on that same exact appointment. Those people are ready to go because they are further along in their buyer's journey. For other people, it might take a couple months. It might take 6 months. It might take a year or maybe a year and a half until they're even ready to consider purchasing a treatment plan or a package from you. When someone is ready to buy, you want to be the business that they think about when they're ready to solve that problem. And the way that you make sure that you are the person they think about is through strategic follow-up, which is what we're going to talk about in this video. When a lead doesn't buy today, most med spas just throw their hands up in the air and say, oh, well, they weren't qualified, or we don't want to work with clients who aren't ready. We don't want to have to chase people down. If they're not ready for us, then we don't want them as a client. But let's just paint a different scenario here. Think about the last time that you bought a car. Most people don't just walk into a dealership and buy a car on the first day that they look, or they just like sit down in a car and they're like, yep, this is the one. Let's sign the papers. Let's get this thing going, right? They do research. They visit multiple dealerships in their area. They test drive different models. They compare prices, and they think about what fits their specific needs and their budget. It might take days or even weeks before you're ready to commit. That doesn't mean that that you're not serious about buying that car. It just means that you might need a little bit of time to feel confident in your decision. It's the same with med spa treatments. Just because someone doesn't book or doesn't buy a treatment plan from you right away does not mean that they're not interested. They might just need time to consider their options, do some research, or will just wait for the right moment, right? Wait until the time is better. The businesses that keep providing helpful information and stay in touch and stay top of mind are the ones that win that business when the client is ready to commit. And this is the difference between getting a 6 times return on ad spend and getting an 18 times return on ad spend when it comes to putting money into some kind of marketing or advertising. Another key point here is that follow-up happens everywhere. So following up with people needs to happen everywhere in your business. Just to give you a handful of examples here. Let's say that you get a lead from Facebook and they're not responding. So they're not texting you back. They're not picking up your calls. What you should do is you should add that person after some time into a long-term SMS list or a long-term SMS sequence so that you are texting them. Maybe if it's just once a month that you're shooting a quick text out to that person, but you're staying top of mind and you're staying in touch with them. Maybe a lead isn't ready to book in quite yet. You get on a call with them and they say, I don't think I want to schedule an appointment right now. You could give them another call in a week just to see if anything's changed, or you could, shoot them a text or an email in like a couple of weeks to see, hey, how are things now? Let's say a lead books in, but they don't show up to their appointment. You can call and text that person maybe once or twice just to make sure everything is okay. And then you can add them into a long-term SMS list or maybe even your newsletter. Let's say that a lead shows up to their appointment, but they don't end up buying a treatment plan or a package. What you can do is you can schedule a follow-up visit for them to come in to claim some kind of free bonus. Let's say that a lead shows up and they end up purchasing a package or a treatment plan. You know, you won the sale. You still want to follow up with that person about potentially getting scheduled for maintenance treatments or a membership or something else, or cross-selling them into some other treatment, so on and so forth. Follow-up should happen at literally every stage of your business, right? And the difference between consistent revenue on a month-to-month basis and inconsistent revenue is that the businesses that make consistent revenue are strategically following up with every single person who has ever interacted with their business in a positive way. And the businesses that struggle to have consistent revenue are those who just kind of treat every single situation as a make or break situation, right? So it's like, we're going to put $1,500 into the ads, and if people don't buy our packages when they come in, then I guess we're not going to be as profitable as we could be, right? But the people who take follow-up serious are the ones who can experience consistent revenue, and they never have to worry about cash flow, and they never have to worry about where is their next client going to come from, how are we going to pay off these devices, how are we going to make payroll, et cetera, et cetera. So for the rest of this video, we're going to talk about how to create consistent revenue for your med spa with follow-ups without being annoying or driving people crazy. So I'm going to share several follow-up strategies for people that are in different stages of your business. I'm hoping that this video might be a little bit longer, but you know, if you actually implement the things that I'll talk about in here, I can basically guarantee that you're going to make your revenue more consistent on a monthly basis. So follow-up strategy number one is with leads. So for the sake of this video, let's just define a lead as anyone who showed interest in something that you offer but hasn't booked an appointment yet. So they submitted their information on a Facebook ad, but they haven't actually come in for an appointment or responded to anything. These could come from meta ads, TikTok ads, organic social media, your website, etc. It really doesn't matter. The follow-up cadence here for calling, texting, and emailing, the goal here is just to get a response from this person, to get a response, qualify them, and set the appointment with them. What I personally do with leads that I generate from Facebook or Instagram ads in particular is we will call this person 6 times in the first 5 days. So usually twice on the first day and then 1 time for the following days there. If they don't pick up on any of those calls, we just stop calling. We also leave voicemails on like half of the calls. From there, we send them 1 to 3 texts on the very first day. So as soon as they submit their information, they get text from us, they get some communication. We send them 4 more texts over the next 10-ish days, kind of spread out over that time. We send them 1 to 3 emails over the first 10-ish days minimum. And then optionally, what we'll do is we'll send a 5-day indoctrination sequence via email. And this is basically just like a 5-day email sequence. So when somebody submits their information, they're going to get 5 emails from us that kind of just break some of their beliefs about body sculpting treatments or whatever it is, so that they're more likely to respond to you. If even after all of that, you haven't gotten a single response from somebody, they're not picking up the phone, they're not responding to any of the texts, they're not responding to any of the emails, what our goal then shifts to is staying top of mind with this individual and providing value to them. The way that we do that is we're going to send them 1 text or email every week for 4 weeks. So once a week for a month, basically. And then if they still don't respond to any of those texts or emails, then we're going to add them into a sequence where they are going to get a text or email from us every single month for 12 months. So 1 text or 1 email from us every month for 12 months. After those 12 months, if this person is just completely ghosting, they're not responding to anything, and they haven't opted out quite yet, then we're just going to stop talking to that person because clearly they're not interested. After an entire year's worth of follow-ups, if they haven't responded, then we are going to stop. See the big difference there? A lot of people, they get the lead, they don't respond, and they're just like, oh, this person, they're wasting our time. You would be so incredibly surprised. I do this for my clients. Sometimes on the 5th call, we get a response and someone says, thanks for calling. They book an appointment and then they come in and they purchase a treatment plan or package. So if you don't have the diligence to actually make these calls or follow up with people as diligently as I'm telling you here, then you're quite literally leaving money on the table and you're wasting money on your ads if you are not diligent with your follow-up. Follow-up strategy number 2. So let's say someone has booked an appointment. Your job isn't done just because somebody booked. The goal here is to make sure that they actually show up to their appointment and they're actually excited for their appointment. So I'm not going to go super in depth on this because I have a whole bunch of videos that go more in depth on how to make sure people show up. But the general cadence here and the general goal here is to get them to show up excited for that appointment that they booked. Usually what we're going to try to do to make sure that they show up excited to their appointment is we're going to try to book people for appointments no more than 3 days out. So if you book people for 4 days from now, 5 days from now, a week from now, the likelihood they show up just plummets down to the floor. So we want to try to book people within 3 days. If you can't, it's not the end of the world, but we definitely want to try. What we'll do from here is we'll send an immediate confirmation through text or email. So just say, hey, we just booked your appointment. Here's the details. 3 days before their appointment, we're going to send something of value over text or email. This could really be anything. It could be, hey, check out some of the before and afters on our Instagram. It could be, hey, we just wrote this skincare prep guide. Wanted to just send it over to you for free. Doesn't really matter. 2 days before the appointment, we want to manually check in with them through text, and we want to add value to that person. So you want to have someone on your team actually text this person 2 days before their appointment and say, hey, this is so-and-so from this the team at 123 Med Spa. Just wanted to make sure you didn't have any questions. Is there anything that we can do for you, right? 1 day before the appointment, we want to send a personalized video tour of your office. This is something I've talked about in other videos. And then the morning of the appointment or the evening before the appointment, we want to send a picture of your office with directions. And what I do for a lot of my clients is we'll take like a selfie in front of our location, pointing up to it, and we'll say like, hey, this is what the front of our building looks like. Can't wait to see you there. Here's a link to directions. As a bonus, you can also call to confirm the day before. So 24 hours before their appointment, someone on your team can give them a quick call. If they pick up, you just say, hey, just confirming your appointment for tomorrow. We still all good for that? They say, yep. If they don't respond, then just leave a voicemail. Follow-up strategy number 3. So for people that don't show up, they ask to reschedule or they ask to cancel. Sometimes someone rescheduling over and over and no showing over and over is a sign of someone that you do not want to work with and you don't want to waste your time with. But other times something genuinely came up and something just came up in their life. You want to draw a line in the sand here regarding your reschedule policy, and you want to actually stick to it. So if you tell someone you have a 24-hour reschedule policy, and if someone tries to reschedule or cancel within those 24 hours, then you do not want to honor that request for them. You want to really kind of dig your feet in the sand here. But for everyone else, the goal here is to identify any concerns that they might have, may have, and then also try to help them get rescheduled while holding your ground regarding your reschedule policy. So the goal here is to show empathy, hold your ground, and get them rescheduled. The way that we do that is you want to call, once they make that request to reschedule their appointment, you want to call them as soon as you possibly can after you get that. If they don't show up to their appointment, then you want to call them within 2 hours after their appointment time, just to say, hey, wanted to make sure everything's okay. We want to text them that day and say, hey, we saw you didn't show up for your appointment. And then we also want to send them one text or email every week for 4 weeks. And then if they don't respond to any of those, one text or email every month for 12 months. And again, that you can kind of see a similarity from the past section here, but anyone who's like ghosting your business or not responding, we want to stay in touch with them for a little bit of time here. But we don't want to send them so much communication that we're driving them crazy. So usually once a week for a month and then once a month for 12 months is a pretty good cadence to follow. As an example, some communication that you could send here is something like, hey, Samantha, it looks like we missed you for your 11 a.m. appointment today. Is everything okay? And just leaving it at that, because you're showing that you're being empathetic. You're just checking in to make sure that everything is all right. And you're also kind of insinuating that it was a little strange that they didn't show up for their appointment. It's like, is everything all right? Like, we just wanted to make sure we didn't hear from you, right? And then, that would be a way that you could potentially get a response when someone ghosts you or asks to reschedule, et cetera, et cetera. Follow-up strategy number 4. So if someone showed up but didn't end up buying, whether this is the upfront offer that they didn't buy or the treatment plan or the package that they didn't buy, the key here is to always have a reason why someone should schedule a follow-up appointment or a follow-up visit to get them back into your office. Something I learned from one of my mentors is a term called BAM-FAM, which stands for book a meeting from a meeting. So the whole idea here is that whenever you have a meeting with somebody, you always want to put the next meeting on the calendar. And so in the case of, for your med spa or aesthetic practice, it would be BAV-FAV. So it would be always try to book a visit from a visit. So whenever someone is in your office, you always want to try to book a visit from a visit, whether they end up purchasing or not. For example, you could be like, hey, so, that upfront offer, you still have that bonus B12 injection from that offer. Our schedule tends to get pretty crazy. So let's just get a follow-up visit on the calendar before you leave. What day are you free next week? Or you could have some kind of like limited time follow-up offer ready to go that you could use to get them to schedule another appointment with you. The goal here is to get them to show up to that reminder visit. So if they ended up booking a follow-up visit with you, what you want to try to do here is you want to try to book appointments again for no more than 3 days out. You want to send them an immediate confirmation via text and email if they schedule that follow-up appointment. And then 3 days before, you want to send something of value through email. And the key here is that you want to try to address a common objection in whatever the thing is that you're sending over. So let's say that one of the objections that they said on their visit was like, hey, I just don't know how effective this is going to be. You could send over some some like case studies. You could send over some social proof. You could send over some things that showed these individuals how effective the treatment actually is. 2 days before, same thing. You want to send something of value via email and address one of their common objections. 1 day before, same exact thing. And you also just want to send them a text reminder, say, hey, your follow-up visit is tomorrow. We can't wait to see you. And then morning of, evening before, send them directions as well. So pretty similar to the appointment reminders sequence that I went over earlier. In this case, we're just making sure that we're sending lots of value to actually increase the likelihood that someone will show up to this follow-up visit that they booked with you. So if they did not book a follow-up visit, so if you tried to get them and you said like, hey, we still have that bonus B12 injection, let's get your follow-up on the calendar. And they're like, I'm not exactly sure yet. I don't really want to book follow-up. Then what you want to do is, again, you just want to stay top of mind and provide value. You do this by sending one text or email every week for 4 weeks, addressing their common objections, and then one text or email every month for 12 months and address their common objections. So if someone is, they come in for a visit and then you try to book a follow-up and they don't book that follow-up with you, again, we want to just use kind of that like top of mind, stay in touch sequence that I was mentioning earlier, where we're going to send one text every week for 4 weeks, one text or email every month for 12 months. Follow-up strategy number 5 is if someone bought the upfront offer, but they didn't buy a package or a treatment plan. So they came in, they bought the $79 intro package, but they didn't ascend into a treatment plan or a package. As I said earlier in the video, we want to book a visit from a visit. We always want to try to book the follow-up visit no matter what. If they did not book the follow-up visit, then we want to just do what I was just mentioning before. So one text or email every week for 4 weeks, one text or email every month for 12 months. That you're going to find that this is a commonality. I found that this is a pretty good sequence in terms of the individuals who are just kind of ghosting you now. So whether they ghosted you after they came in, whether they're just ghosting you altogether, we don't want to just stop talking to those people. That's the biggest mistake that a lot of med spas make, and it's why their revenue is so inconsistent. We want to stay in touch with these individuals when they start to ghost you, regardless of what they were, what they came in for before, or whether they came in at all. Follow-up strategy number 6 here is for someone who bought a package or a treatment plan. So like we discussed earlier, follow-up happens everywhere. Even though someone purchased a package or a treatment plan, we still want to make sure we're following up with that person. We want to obviously continue to send appointment reminders for each session. We also want to send them post-treatment care instructions, because if someone buys like a package, a series of 4 treatments, we want to make sure they show up to every single one of those appointments. So send them reminders for those appointments. As they near the end of their series of treatments, look for upsell, downsell, cross-sell, or referral opportunities. So let's go over all 4 of those. An upsell would just be more of the same. So that would, a good example would be maintenance treatment. So like, hey, your series of 4 is coming up soon. We've usually found that when people go through a series of 4, in about like 6 to 12 months from now, it's going to become more important to do some maintenance treatments just to make sure that you can sustain those results. And then you could try to use that as an upsell opportunity. A cross-sell would be if at the very end of their series of treatment, you kind of redo a consultation, like you kind of consult with them again to see if there's any opportunities to solve any other problems that they have. So let's say someone came in for something body sculpting related, but then they say, oh yeah, I also have this this crease in my forehead that I want to fix or whatever. Then that might be a cross-sell into Botox or just something completely unrelated to what they were there for in the first place. And you don't have to call this second consultation a consult. You could call it like a beauty check-in or something. You could be like, oh, hey, so since we're getting near the end of our series of 4 treatments that you purchased in that package, we usually do what's called a beauty check-in just to see how things are going, see how the results are turning out for you, and then you could just run that appointment as another consultation, basically. You could also try to downsell people into a monthly membership. So that's pretty self-explanatory, or look for referral opportunities. So, hey, do you know anyone who could potentially benefit from this as well? So again, this is for people who bought a package or a treatment plan. We want to follow up with them to make sure they show up to all those things. And then once we get towards the end, we want to look for opportunities to get them into different things or to purchase other things in your business. If they don't bite on the upsells or the cross sells, etc., then this is where things get a little different. So with those leads before who came in for an appointment and they're just ghosting you now, we're going to do the 4 texts over 4 weeks and then a text every month for 12 months. But for the individuals who do end up purchasing, what we want to do here is we want to put them into a newsletter of some sort. So maybe you already are running a newsletter for your med spa and you send out an email to your list every week, maybe twice a week, or maybe a couple times a month or something like that. We want to dump these individuals into your newsletter just so that you can stay top of mind with them, and they can see when you're running different promotions. They can see when you just hired a new PA or something, whatever. And then we also want to send them one text every month on top of that. And this doesn't have an end date, just indefinitely. You want to send them one text every month. And we'll talk about later in this video what those texts could look like as well. Follow-up strategy number 7 is inactive clients. So this is basically the same as the follow-up cadence for people who bought a package but didn't buy an upsell, downsell, or cross-sell. We want to put them into your newsletter. We also want to send them one text every month. And then once a quarter, what you can do is you can also send them something personalized to reactivate the conversation. So for example, hey, it's been a while since you came in for that treatment or, XYZ treatment. How are the results looking? How are things holding up? Is there any way that we can support you? So you could send that as a text just to kind of reactivate the conversation with that person. You could say, hey, we have this special offer that we put together that only our previous guests or only our previous clients can get access to. Would it be okay if we sent over the details? Or you could say, hey, name happy birthday. We noticed it's your birthday. We wanted to give you access to a special birthday, a birthday special or whatever, right? So this is basically what's called database reactivation. So any individuals who ended up purchasing something from you, but then they just go radio silent and they stop coming in, after some time, obviously we want to stay in touch with them with the newsletter and texting them every once in a while, so every month or so. But then on top of that, if you spend a little bit of time, literally just like once every three months, reaching out to this list with something personalized, someone on your team could actually sit down and type out a personalized message to this person. You're going to activate a lot of those, reactivate a lot of those individuals who otherwise would have never come in for anything else. Now, that was 7 follow-up strategies that we just went over. So if I just go all the way back to the beginning here, we talked about what to do if you got a lead that hasn't responded to anything, what to do if someone has booked an appointment with you, what to do if someone has no-showed, rescheduled, or requested a reschedule or requested a cancellation, what to do if someone has showed up but they didn't buy anything, what to do if someone bought the upfront offer but didn't buy a package or a treatment plan, what to do if someone bought a package or a treatment plan, and then also what to do if someone is just an inactive client that hasn't come back in a while. So we have went over a lot of stuff in the last couple minutes here. This might sound like a lot of work, and that's because it is. But the beauty here is that it's a lot of work up front, but 99% of this can be automated. So that's the most amazing thing about this. If you have like a really organized CRM, and CRM just stands for Customer Relationship Management platform or system, you can have all of these follow-ups happening every single day without even thinking about it. So this wouldn't be you like manually typing text or manually typing emails or whatever. Obviously, the calls kind of have to be a real person on the other side, but the text and the emails, you could write those once and then just set it up so that they're sent out to people in specific circumstances. You can automate reminders for your team as well. So let's say you could send a message to your receptionist or whoever does this role in your company, and it could say, hey, it's been 6 months since Susie was here. Send her a personalized text today. And that way there's no forgetting either. It's like, oh crap, we haven't talked to that lead in 6 months. It's like they just get the notification, it becomes a task, and then they just do it, right? Yes, this is a lot of upfront work to write the texts, write the emails, write the newsletter. But I promise you, once it's done, it's done. You just have to modify and improve it over time. And with the newsletter, you kind of have to, those are a little bit more like fresh. And so those aren't as evergreen. You might have to keep up with that on like a weekly or a monthly basis. But all of this follow-up that I'm mentioning here, you can write this stuff once and you can send the same follow-ups to people over time. Basically, like if I had, let's say that I had someone in our CRM who booked an appointment but didn't end up buying anything, I could tag them and basically say, hey, this person booked an appointment but didn't buy anything, and then the system will automatically know to send them a certain amount of text over a certain amount of time and specific text and all that kind of stuff. So without getting too technical or too into the weeds here, 99% of this can be automated and will also make such a huge difference in your business. Now, the question is, what do I even say? Like, you're telling me to follow up with people and email them and text them and all this communication. Like, what do I even say in all this stuff? Well, basically, there are really 4 different types of follow-up messages in general, right? And these 4 follow-up messages, I stole these from a guy named Jay Malloy. I made some minor tweaks to them, but credit where credit's due. The 4 different types here are reminders, value invitations, nudges, and offers. So let's go over what those are. Reminders are just to make sure that they remember something. So for example, your appointment is coming up this Thursday at 3. That would be an example of a follow-up message. A value invitation would be you inviting them to take a look at something valuable. So for example, hey, we put together this free skincare guide. Would you like us to send it over to you? A nudge would be like a gentle poke to encourage someone to take action without being pushy. So for example, hey, we noticed you didn't schedule that follow-up visit yet. Would you like would you like some help finding a time for that follow-up visit? And then an offer would be a limited time opportunity that you can take action on. So for example, hey, we just put together this awesome special. Mind if we send you the details? And by the way, these can be combined as well. So for example, hey, we can't wait for your appointment this Thursday at 3. That would be like a reminder. In preparation, would it be okay if we sent you our skin prep guide? That would be like a value invitation. So the key here, when in doubt, lead with value. So value 80% of the time, everything else 20% of the time. So for example, when we're sending people one text every month, we want to make sure that like 80% of those texts that we're sending them are purely valuable. Like, hey, we just put together this skincare guide. Well, here's a whole bunch of examples. So like, hey, we just put together this guide. We just wrote this article. We have this YouTube video. Hey, it's your birthday today, showing some empathy, asking them questions to see how their results are holding up, putting together free events and inviting people to come out to those free events. Especially as time goes on, if someone schedules an appointment and then starts to ghost you, you don't just want to like blast them by like nudging them and reminding them like, hey, come back in, and like sending them new offers all the time. You want to send them content and resources that provide value and break their beliefs that held them back from coming in the first place. And then every once in a while, you can throw in an offer or a nudge here or there to actually get them to show up. So when it comes down to it, like if this is all sounding kind of confusing, when you're following up with people, focus primarily on providing value to that person. Like how can we make this person's life better, whether they come in and book an appointment with us or not? And if you can do that like 80% of the time, and then the other 20% of the time you can say, hey, we're running this cool offer, would you be interested? You're going to get much better take rates on that. So to wrap up, I promise that if you keep an organized CRM and you actually implement all of these different strategies that I'm talking about, and you start following up with the leads that you're generating instead of just discarding all the leads and throwing them out in the trash, you won't have to deal with roller coaster revenue anymore. So it's not going to be like, oh crap, what's the revenue going to be next month? Like we're starting from zero again. That's not going to happen anymore, because when you consistently follow up with people, your revenue becomes much more consistent, right? Much more predictable on a month-to-month basis, because you are just getting, you're making the most out of every single lead that you've generated. And you will also make 10 times more profit in the process, which is the most exciting part there. So that wraps up the video here. If you'd be curious to hear how I could potentially guarantee you 10 to 20 qualified aesthetic consults that actually show up to your practice every single month, or you don't pay me a single dime, then hit the first link in the description below, watch the video that looks like this on that next page, and then book a time to chat with me. And I'll see you in the next one.